Hello everyone. So this is what your doubts. So let's see how to write this answer. This is the first question, that is state parallelogram law of vectors, derive an expression for the magnitude and direction of the resultant vector. So before going for this statement, let's draw the diagram. See here, this is point O. From this point O, you are having one vector. Can you see? Yes, like this. And this is another vector. You can see here. This point is point O. This point is point O. You can see here. Yes or not? This is point Q. And this is vector B bar. Here it is vector A bar. And this point is P. Now, just let's talk about these two vectors only. These two vectors are representing the adjacent sides of parallelogram. Okay, these two vectors are representing adjacent sides of parallelogram. Now, if I want to find resultant, then the diagonal of this parallelogram, which is originating from the same point, gives the resultant of these two vectors. This is what your statement. So see here, if two vectors are represented in magnitude and direction by the two adjacent sides of a parallelogram drawn from a point, then the resultant is represented by a diagonal drawn through the same point. So from here, this is diagonal, and that's why it will represent the resultant of these two vectors. Understood? Clear? Yes. So these are, even you can write here also, not an issue. Okay, anywhere you can write, this is what resultant is. Okay. Now, just what you have to do, just extend this diagram, because we have to complete this parallelogram. So I am denoting with this dotted lines. Already it is there. Yes. And I am drawing one perpendicular here. That is S to N. You can see here, this is perpendicular. And this angle is what? Theta. This angle is what? Theta. Why? Because here also the angle between these two vectors is theta. These two vector angle is theta. So that's why, as you can see, these parallel sides are equal. So this is also B bar only. Yes. And as this is A bar, so this is also parallel side. That's why this is also A bar, vector A bar, right? Okay, understood? Now, just write about this diagram. A bar and B bar are two vectors represented by the sides OP and OQ of a parallelogram. Yes, okay. Next, theta is the angle between them, and the diagonal OS represent the resultant of the two vectors. That is R bar is equal to A bar plus B bar. Understood till here? Okay. And the angle between this resultant and this A bar is alpha. What is this? Alpha between this resultant and this A bar. Clear? Understood? Okay, diagram you understood. Till here you understood everything. Let's do it now, geometry part. Okay. Now, let's consider this triangle OSN. You can see here, triangle OSN. This is a right angle triangle, and this angle N is right angle here, hai na? So can I write OS square is equal to ON square plus SN square? Yes, no? Right. Now, this ON means what? OP plus PN. Yes, no? ON is what? OP plus PN. That's why at the place of ON, I have substituted OP plus PN whole square plus this SN square. Okay. Right. Now again, I am taking another triangle, that is PSN. In this triangle, cos theta is equal to PN by SP or PS, PN by PS. So Pn is equal to what? Ps cos of theta, and Ps is what? B. So therefore Pn is equal to B cos of theta. Similarly, sin theta. Sin theta, you see, sin theta is what? Sn opposite by this Sp. So that's why Sn by Ps you can write. So Sn is equal to Ps sin theta, and it is what? B sin of theta, because this parallel side already I told you, this parallel side is what? B. Okay, this no, this we don't want this angle. So this is B, that's why you are getting B sin of theta and B cos of theta. Right? So let's substitute now here. OP we are having, PN we are having. So A plus B cos theta. At the place of OP and PN I have substituted. Plus at the place of SN I have substituted this B sin theta. Square it, A square plus 2AB cos theta plus B square cos square theta plus B square sin square theta. And if I will take B square common from this step, what is left here? Cos square theta plus sin square theta, and this part is as it is. So this is equal to 1, and that's why I am getting, if I will take square root on both sides, A square plus B square plus 2AB cos of theta. Understood? Clear? Just take B cos square theta common, B square common from these two steps or these two, and we know cos square theta plus sin square theta is equal to 1. And then after that, take square root from both sides, and then you will get r square is equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab cos of theta. Okay, right. Next now how to find direction of resultant? Direction of resultant means tan alpha. Direction of resultant means tan alpha. If you will see in the diagram, this triangle again OSN only, I am taking tan alpha. So what is the tan alpha? You see SN by ON, and Sn is already we know B sin theta, and On is OP plus Pn A plus B cos theta, and therefore alpha is equal to tan inverse of B sin theta by A plus B cos of theta. Just substitute value and take that right angle triangle, you will get everything. Understood? This is what your parallelogram law of vectors. Okay, you can take your material and you can see once. Okay, if you have still doubt, you can call me. Okay, so let's move ahead. Next doubt. See here. So this doubt is, why are shock absorbers used in motorcycles and cars? Why are shock absorbers used in motorcycles and cars? So I am drawing one diagram. You can see here, this is a vehicle, and here is spring something like this. Yes, and here is a seat, suppose, and this is just rough diagram, and you are sitting here. So what happens when any uneven road is there? Suppose like this road is there. So when it is going, first the spring, the jerk, whatever it is getting restored, and the time of that jerk, it will increase. Time of jerk, that will increase, and that's why we will not get that much jerk. So see here, the vehicles like scooters, cars, buses, etc. are provided with the shock absorbers. When they move over an uneven road, impulsive forces are exerted by the road. And impulse I is equal to F into delta T. So force is equal to I by delta T. If this impulse is constant, F is inversely proportional to delta T. So if the time is more, delta T is more, this force will be less. So the function of shock absorbers is to increase the time of impulse, and this would reduce the force exerted on the vehicle, and thus shock absorbers are used in motor vehicles. Understand? Okay, so whatever this impulse is there, that is equal to force into change in time, and therefore F is inverse proportional to delta T. So if delta T is more, force is less, and that's why the force is less if time is more. Okay, understood? Right. So let's move ahead. This question is from work power energy, that is LAQ question. It is coming for 8 marks. So the total mechanical energy of a system is constant if the internal forces doing work on it are conservative and the external forces do not work. So what we have to do? First, state and prove. What we have to do? State and prove law of conservation of energy in case of a freely falling body. So first we have to write statement. So see here, what is the statement? The total mechanical energy remains constant if the internal forces do work are conservative and external forces do not work. You can write this also, or else you can write another statement, that is energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can convert from one form to another, but the total energy of the system remains constant. You can write that also. If you can write this, best. Okay, that is E is equal to K plus U, which is equal to constant. So one more time, see, first to state and prove, it is saying, he is saying, so that's why law of conservation of energy, the total mechanical energy of system remains constant if the internal forces doing work on it are conservative or external forces do not, and external forces do not work, or else energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can convert from one form to another, but the total energy of the system remains constant, and that is E is equal to K plus U is equal to constant. This we have to write. Any one statement, either this or energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Okay. Now law of conservation of energy in case of freely falling body. Now you can see here, I am taking now this ball. You see here, this is a ball. You can see A, B, and C. These are the positions of that ball when it is falling freely from some height. So you can see this is capital H. It is given here. Capital H is the height from which we are dropping, and at this B point from ground it is small h. And this, then if this is h small h and this is capital H, this A to B is h minus h. Now at point A, you see mass of the ball m, initial velocity 0. Why? Because we are dropping, so U is equal to 0. Height is what? Capital H. So kinetic energy half m u square, half m u is 0, so this is 0. Potential energy is mg h, and therefore total energy K plus U is equal to mgh, and therefore total energy is equal to mgh, because this is 0 and just only potential energy it is having. That's why we got at point A energy is equal to mgh. Very easy this is. Just we have to use two formulas, kinetic energy, potential energy. Clear? Okay. Now at point B, let's move ahead. Now at point B, initial velocity U is 0. This is at point A, not at point B. Okay, at point A. And final velocity at point B is VB. Acceleration is G, displacement is H minus H, and height is small h, because you have to see height from bottom. Now A to B, if you have material, you can see A to B, can I write like this? V square minus U square is equal to 2G into displacement is what? H minus H. Now this is 0. So V square is equal to 2G into H minus H. Now just find out kinetic energy. So this is kinetic energy. K is equal to half into M into 2G H minus H. So this 2 and this 2 will get cancelled. So this is mgh minus mgh. This is what? Kinetic energy. And potential energy is what? mgh. Therefore, total energy E is equal to K plus U. So this is equal to mgh minus mgh plus how much? This is mgh. So this and this will get cancel, and how much you are getting again? Mg capital H only. This is what? Total energy. This is your equation number 2. Okay, right? So it at B point also you are getting total energy equal to mgh only. Okay, right. So let's move ahead. Now at point C, what happens? So already I have explained this. You can just go through it. Now at point C. At point C means where when the ball is reaching to the ground. You know, ball is reaching at the ground. Now ball is reaching at the ground. Initial velocity U is 0. Final velocity is Vc. This is we are talking about from this point A to point C. This is point C. And now this is again capital H height from which we have dropped. But this time you are having displacement 0. Displacement is H. Height is 0. Displacement is H because from A to C it came, no? So if I will use this final velocity V square at this point minus U square is equal to 2GH. U is 0. So V square is equal to 2GH. Got it? That is Vc square, we can say. Vc square at this point. So kinetic energy half m Vc square half m, and this is 2GH. This 2 and this 2 will get cancelled. And here this is 2 is not there. You can erase in the material also. So this is mgh. And potential energy is what? 0. Why? Because it is on ground. So total energy you can do it again. That is E is equal to K plus U, and this is equal to K is what? mgh plus 0, and therefore again total energy is equal to mgh. Call this equation number 3. So from equation 1, 2 and 3 you can conclude that total energy is constant at each and every point. Got it? Understood? Yes? Okay, so let's move ahead. Yes, so this is what the problem which they are asking. A machine gun fires 360 bullets per minute, and each bullet travels with a velocity of 600 meters per second. If the mass of each bullet is 5 grams, find the power of the machine gun. So first you write down given things. See here, 360 bullets per minute. 360 bullets per minute means this is nothing but rate of firing. So number of bullets per minute time. So 360 bullets per minute. So how many bullets per second? 360 by 60. This 0 and this 0 get cancelled. 6. So 6 bullets per second. This is what your rate of firing. Next, they have given velocity. Velocity of bullet is V. V is equal to 600 meter per second. M is equal to 5 gram. And this is 5 into 10 to the power minus 3 kg. Okay. Now power P. Power P is equal to what? Energy by time. Energy by time. But here you are having some rate into energy. That's why, can I write like this? See here. I am writing like this. Power P is equal to N by T into E. Yes, N is just number. and therefore N by T is how much I am having? 6 into energy is what? Half mv square. Okay, what I am doing? 6 into half mv square. 6 into half into m value is 5 into 10 to the power minus 3 into 600 into 600, because v square is 600 into 600. So if you will solve this, how much you are getting? You see, just do 15 into 10 to the power minus 3 into 600 into 600. This 0 and these two zeros will get cancelled with this. So you are getting 15 into 6 into 60. 15 into 6 into 60. So how much this is? Check it. Check it, this how much you are getting. This is nothing but 90 into 60, है ना? 15 6 are 90 into 60. This is equal to 5400 watt. 5400 watt, right? Clear hai? So this is what the answer is. Or even if you want to write kilowatt, so 5.4 into 10 to the power 3 watt. So this 10 power 3 is nothing but kilo, and therefore 5.4 kilowatt. Like this also you can write. Even 5400 also write and best too. Okay, not an issue. You can write 5400 happily without keeping any doubt in the mind. Okay, understood? Clear? Okay, next. Now your next doubt is, see here, this is another LEQ from this work power energy, that is work energy theorem, and so see here, this is the question. Develop the notions of work and kinetic energy and show that it leads to work energy theorem. So पहले आपको क्या करना है, work का definition लिखो. Work done by the force is defined as the product of component of the force in the direction of displacement and magnitude of the force, the magnitude of the displacement. For example, assume that this is a block and you are pulling in this direction. How we are pulling in this direction? You can see here. This is what direction in which you are pulling, and applied force is F. And this is angle theta, and the body is displacing in this direction. So if I will resolve these two components like this, one is F cos theta, another is F sin theta. Can you see? This is F sin theta and this component is F cos theta. Now this F cos theta component into this displacement is nothing but what your work done, and as these two are in same direction, so theta is equal to 0, and therefore cos 0 is equal to 1, and therefore W is equal to F into T. Here you can see F cos theta and displacement are in same direction, that's why theta is equal to 0, and therefore cos 0 is equal to 1, and that's why you are getting F into T. Okay, next, kinetic energy. What is the kinetic energy? Just write definition. The energy possessed by a body by virtue of its motion, simply. And therefore what is that? Example is given, a bullet fired from a gun, water flowing along a river, and K is equal to half mv square. Okay, right, these two definitions you write. Next, now work energy theorem. What is the work energy theorem? So this work energy theorem gives you the relation between work and kinetic energy. So how it is, let's see. So first, work energy theorem statement is what? Work done by a particle is equal to change in kinetic energy. Simple. This W is equal to delta Ke. Change in kinetic energy is equal to work done. You first write down this. Now if suppose body is moving under constant force, we know v square minus u square is equal to 2as. Now what I am doing, I am multiplying on both sides by m by 2. M by 2 v square minus m by 2 u square is equal to m by 2 into 2as. Very simple, just m by 2 se multiply karo. Now half mu square minus half mu square is equal to this 2 and this 2 will get cancelled. Ma into s. Ma is nothing but force and s is displacement. So now this is half mv square. Half mv square is kf minus this is ki is equal to fs is nothing but w. Till here only you write down. This below part is not necessary. This part is no need. Again same only we are doing. Till here only you write. This is kf minus this is ki and this is equal to w. Okay, understood? Till here only enough. After this, if you want to write, you just write down this theory part, that is this one. The above equation provides some motivation for the definition of work and energy, and so this and this all you can write down. Just displacement component of force along the displacement, this quantity is called work, and therefore kf minus ki is equal to w. This you write down. This is not necessary. Which part is not necessary? I am showing you again from this answer, because this is again just repetition. Don't want this part. Okay, which one? This part which I am making in a box. Can you see? This is not necessary. Again and again, this part is no need. Okay, after this direct you can write kf minus ki is equal to w and just write theory part. Clear? Okay, let's move ahead. Now next one, this is again LAQ from the oscillation chapter, that is define simple harmonic motion. Show that the motion of a projection of a particle performing uniform circular motion on any diameter is simple harmonic. So first, already we have finished this SHM. You have to write first definition of SHM. So see, a body is said to be in SHM if it moves to and fro along a straight line about its mean position, such that at any point acceleration is ideal proportional to its displacement in magnitude but opposite in direction. Okay, and this a is equal to minus omega square y or x. Omega square x likho, no problem, because x is what? Displacement here. Already you know this, already in the class finished. Okay, definition you will write first. Next, this projection you have to see. So let's see this, how you have to write. Now projection of a particle in uniform circular motion on any diameter is performing SHM. This you have to prove. Now see, first you draw a circle and x dash and y dash, and this is amplitude A. Already in the classwork I have given this diagram also. Okay, this is A amplitude, and this is projection. So even you can keep this as x or y, whatever. And but here it is x on x-axis, so this is projection of this particle. So just write down theory. Consider a particle P in uniform circular motion with constant angular velocity omega in anti-clockwise direction. Already you can see here, this is there, anti-clockwise direction. This is omega. Okay, x dash and y dash are diameters. N is the projection of P on x dash. This also you can write. Next, as P moves from x to y, N moves from O to x dash. Okay, means where? Like this. Okay. Next, similarly, as P moves from x dash to y dash, this N moves from where? X dash to O and O to x. So it means that if P completes one rotation, then N completes one oscillation along the diameter x dash. Okay. So this is just theory part, you can write down. Next, Now, first acceleration we know that is omega square a. So a omega square, acceleration of point N towards O, the horizontal component of along NO, centripetal acceleration of P is what? APO cos of theta. Its component you have to take. So just a omega square cos of theta. Now from triangle ONP, cos theta is equal to x by a, and therefore at this place I am substituting x by a, and this a and this a if I am cancelling, I am getting a is equal to omega square x, and therefore a is along NO and x is along ON. That's why I am substituting here minus sign, and hence the position of particle in uniform circular motion on any diameter is in SHM. Very simple, just 4 lines you write down. Take component, take cos theta value, and show that NO and ON are opposite, and then a is equal to minus omega square x, and a is proportional to minus x as omega is constant. Clear? Okay, so you can go through this once. Right, so let's move ahead. Next LAQ from oscillation only, show that the motion of a simple pendulum is simple harmonic. This is important. Okay, right? So see, show that the motion of a simple pendulum is simple harmonic, and hence derive an equation for its time period. What is seconds pendulum? Now everyone knows simple pendulum. So consider a small bob of mass m tied to an inextricable massless string of length L. Okay, and pendulum is pulled, and what happens? Let's see. Down. Okay, right. So you see how much easy this answer is. You can just draw the diagram. See, this is a pendulum, this is a bob of mass m, and now I am pulling it little this side. Okay, I am pulling it this side, so this is angle theta, and the length of this wire is L. Now here, this is tension in the string, this is mg downward, and this component is mg cos of theta, as this angle is also theta. So mg cos theta, and this component is mg sin theta. Now when pendulum goes this side, this mg sin theta is what responsible to bring this bob again back to its initial position. That is what called as restoring force. What is that? Restoring force. So see here, restoring force, F is equal to minus mg sin theta. Minus sign indicates it always opposite, है ना? It is always trying to bring it back. Now if sin theta or theta is very small, if theta is very small, then sin theta is nearly equal to theta. This equal to you, it is not equal to. So if theta is very small, then sin theta is nearly equal to theta, and therefore F is equal to minus mg theta. Okay, next. Now here, this is one arc, this is one arc, and that's why this angular displacement theta is equal to arc by radius. This arc is x, you can see here, this is x, and this arc and this is radius L. So arc by radius means x by L, and therefore at this place of theta I am substituting this x by L, and therefore F is equal to minus mg x by L. Now we know F is equal to what? Ma. So therefore Ma is equal to minus mg by L into x. So now this m and this m will get cancelled. Now again this a, at the place of a, can I substitute minus omega square x, which is equal to minus g by L into x. Now this x and this x cancel, minus minus cancel. So what I am getting, omega square is equal to g by L. Understood? Nothing to do. First F is equal to minus mg theta. Just use angular displacement formula, arc by radius x by L, substitute here, and then Ma is equal to minus mg L by x, mm cancel, and again at the place of a you substitute this minus omega square x. Again you can cancel x and we will get omega square is equal to g by L. Okay, understood? Okay, next. Now I got omega square is equal to g by L. So omega is equal to under root g by L. Now omega is equal to 2 pi by t, and therefore t is equal to 2 pi by omega. So 2 pi under root g by L is in nothing but t, and that is equal to 2 pi under root L by g. Now seconds pendulum is what? A pendulum whose time period is 2 seconds is called seconds pendulum. If you will write this line is enough. Okay, because in problem they have asked, in question they have asked, what is seconds pendulum? So a pendulum whose time period is 2 seconds is called seconds pendulum. Okay, understood? Right. So go through this once and let's move ahead. Next doubt they have asked, or you have asked, is from mechanical properties of solids. And in the notebook, if you have notebook, that is our class notes, I have given point wise this all things. If you will go through this once, if you will open the notebook once, you will understand everything. Okay, so then also I am repeating one more time. So describe the behavior of a wire under gradually increasing load. So see here, if a wire is stressed by increasing load, the strain varies with different values of the stress. So strain is varying with different values of stress. So you can see here, first O to A, this graph is straight line. It means what? Directly proportional. Stress is proportional to strain, and Hooke's law is obeyed, and this is called proportionality limit. Oh yeah, this point clear. Next, now in the region from A to B, the stress and strain are not proportional, but body will regain its original shape and size. Till B, A to B, they are not proportional, but body will regain its shape and size. That is called elastic limit. Okay, understood. Next point. Now C point. C point is what? Now, so C point is there now. So anywhere the point C is between B and D, the body does not regain its original dimensions. In this case, strain is not zero, even when the stress is zero. The material is said to have permanent set, and deformation is said to be plastic deformation, and the point D is ultimate tensile strength. And this E point is what? Fracture point. So all these things you can just go through the notes once. I have given you clearly there. This D and E is close, means material is ductile, or and if it is long, then it is what we can say. Wait, here already I have given in the notebook also. So this is brittle. D and E are close, the material is brittle. If they are far apart, the material is ductile. Okay, this also I have given in the notes point wise. Go through it once, you will understand. Very easy. Next one. Here this one. State and explain Newton's law of cooling. State the conditions under which Newton's law of cooling is applicable. A body cools down from 60 to 50 degrees Celsius in 5 minutes and 40 degrees Celsius in another 9 minutes. But in the question, you have to see properly what I have given. There it is 8 minutes. Understand? In the question, it is 8 minutes. So don't write this answer always. Okay, they may change. This is not 9 minutes in the given question. Very, very important. You can see in the question paper, whatever the problems they will ask, you have to check what he is asking. Okay, and find the temperature of surrounding. So this minutes they are changing sometimes and we are following the material. So don't do like that. So first state and explain Newton's law of cooling and state the conditions under which Newton's law of cooling is applicable. So first see, the rate of loss of heat is proportional to the difference in temperature between the body and its surrounding. So simply एक ही बात याद रखो, minus dq by dt is direct proportional to T2 minus T1. T2 is body temperature, T1 is surrounding temperature. Yes. And minus sign indicates loss. Clear? So this law is heat by radiation depends upon the nature of surface of the body and the area of surface. Okay, this you can write down till here as it is. And then conditions you see, loss of heat is negligible by conduction and only when it is due to convection. Loss of heat occurs in a streamlined flow of air and temperature of the body is uniformly distributed over it. These three conditions you can write down. And let's move for the problem which is given ahead of the problem in the main exam, we can say. Here it is 9 minutes, but there it is 8 minutes. So how to solve this? Let's see. I'm solving here. So how they have given problem? Theta 1, case 1. First I am taking case 1. Case 1. $60 to 50 in 5 minutes. So theta 1 is equal to 60 degree Celsius, theta 2 is equal to 50 degree Celsius, and time t is in 5 minutes. Okay. And as we know, d theta by dt is equal to k into theta minus theta s. So theta is what? Average temperature. So theta is equal to what here? Theta 1 plus theta 2 by 2. So this is how much? 60 plus 50 by 2. And this is how much? I think 55. Check it once. So d theta by dt is how much? 60 minus 50 divided by t is how much? 5. I'm keeping in minutes only. This is k. And this is 55 minus theta naught. Call this equation number 1. Okay. So wait, we can more simplify this. We can simplify more. So this is 60 minus 50 is how much we are getting? 10 by 5. Yes, no? So this is how much? This is 10 by 5 means direct 2. 2 is equal to k into 55 minus theta naught. Call this equation number 1. Now in case 2, what happens? Theta 1 is equal to here how much? 50, है ना? 50 to 40. Theta 1 is 50 and theta 2 is 40 and the time t is 8 minutes. Time t is 8 minutes in the second case. So again d theta by dt is equal to same formula. So here d theta by dt is equal to k into theta minus theta s. So d theta by dt is how much here? Again 50 minus 40 by 8 minutes is equal to k into, this is 50 plus 40, 90 by 2 means 45 minus theta naught. है ना. Theta average is what? Theta 1 plus theta 2 by 2, which is 50 plus 40 by 2, which is equal to 45, है ना. Okay, so this is again how much? 10 by 8 is equal to k into 45 minus theta naught, and this is how much? 5 by 4. 5 by 4 is equal to k into 45 minus theta naught. Okay, so from equation 1 and 2, k is equal to 2 by 55 minus theta naught. Clear hai? And from this here also, k is equal to 5 by 4 into 45 minus theta naught. So this is your equation number 3. This is your equation number 4. You just equate these two and find out theta naught. You will get the answer. Clear? Okay. Just equate these two and find out theta naught. You will get the answer. Do it yourself. Understood? Clear? So note down this problem. Do it yourself. Okay. Clear? Okay. Now next. In what way is the anomalous behavior of water advantageous to aquatic animals? In cold countries during winter, water at the surface of the lakes gets cooled and cooled. We know this. In the classwork, I have given it clearly. Thermal properties of matter. You can go through the classwork. Very nice notes are there. Just read. Just read once classwork for this answer. So this will sink at bottom. This goes on until the water reaches the temperature 4 degrees Celsius. When the top layers cool further, this temperature falls below 4 degrees Celsius. It expands and becomes lighter. Why? Because density of water at 4 degrees Celsius is maximum. That's why water will come down. And further layers, although their temperature is less, they will not sink further down because density of water at 4 degrees Celsius is maximum. And therefore, what happens here? This remains water, and above layer, although it is ice, still aquatic animals can survive here. Okay, so it does not sink downwards and remains at the top. Yes, ice is formed at the surface, so the lower layers are protected against freezing. This results in water remaining at the bottom at 4 degrees Celsius so that aquatic animals can survive. Okay, draw this diagram, write 4 points. You can go through once classwork, okay, revise once for this answer. You will get clarity. Okay, right. Next, next is this one, that is triple point of water. See, for this also you can go through the classwork if you want. Already I have given very clearly. You can read once from the classwork after this. So triple point of water is what? It is the point where 3 states of water, that is ice, water and steam, coexist in equilibrium. That is called triple point. And for water, triple point temperature is 273.16 and pressure is 4.6 mm of Hg. Means this point. Already in the notes it is there very clearly. You will understand. Go through notes once. Classwork. Next is ice line. You can see PB. This point P and this P is ice line. And here you can see melting point of ice decrease with increase in pressure, and ice and water are in equilibrium. 3 points only you write. PB is known as ice line. Ice and water are in equilibrium, and hence MP of ice decreases with increase in pressure. Okay. Finished. Next, streamline. P to A is streamline, and here the variation of boiling point of water with pressure is shown by the curve PA. Along the curve, water and steam coexist. That's it. Okay. A is known as streamline, and variation of boiling point of water is shown by this curve, and water and steam coexist at this point. Next one is Hoare-Frust line or sublimation line. So about this you have to write. So this you can see PC is your Hoare-Frust line. PC is known as, and here ice and steam coexist, and the three curves meet at point P. This point is called triple point. Very easy. Two lines you can write, and the graphical PA, PB, and PC lines. You will get 4 marks with diagram. Don't forget to write down this temperature and this pressure, whatever it is, and this pressure and temperature. Okay. Okay. Next one. Cyclic process and non-cyclic process. In the classwork also I have given, I think, a table. You can go through that once. Still I am explaining here. Cyclic process means what? The process which return the system back to its initial state. Ho gaya. Non-cyclic means what? The system which will not return back to its initial state. In cyclic process, UF is equal to UI, so delta U is 0, and therefore delta V is dial proportional to delta T, and delta T is 0, so temperature of system remains constant. So delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W. As delta U is 0, delta Q is equal to delta W, and therefore total heat supplied is equal to work done. And for cyclic process, PV is graph is closed curve like this. So see 4 points. Cyclic process definition you write, this you write, this you write, then this, and just plot the graph. Finished. Okay, 4 points you write for cyclic process. Understood? Write down for cyclic process in which return the system back to its initial state. In case of cyclic process, this point, then internal energy change in temperature 0, then first law becomes, and heat supplied equal to work done. And PV graph is closed curve. हो गया cyclic. इतना ही लिखो, this much only, and this plot the graph. Enough. Okay. Next example is not necessary. Next one, in non-cyclic process, whatever you are having, so see the series of changes involved do not return the system back to its initial state. First point. Work done in non-cyclic process depends upon the path chosen or the series of changes involved, and area covered by this graph is given as a work done. Plot this graph and write one more point. You will get full marks. Understand with this diagram. Clear? Okay. Next. Now one more question, that is CP and CV relation. So derive a relation between the two specific heat capacities of a gas on the basis of first law of thermodynamics. So see how to write this answer. First is consider 1 mole of gas contained in a conducting cylinder. A is the area of piston, P, V, and T, pressure, volume, temperature of the gas. Now at constant volume, what you will get? dQV is equal to du is equal to 1 into CVDT, because 1 mole, N CVDT means what? N is 1, because 1 mole of gas we have considered. So therefore 1 into CVDT, and that's why du is equal to CVDT. Right. Next one, now gas is heated at constant pressure. What happens? We will get dQp. dQp is what? 1 into CPDT. That is what CPDT. Right. So first you find out du is equal to CVDT, then dQ is equal to CPDT. Okay. Now first law use karo. dQ is equal to du plus dW. dQ value already we got CPDT. Substitute here. du value already you know. du value is what? CVDT. Okay. This is CPDT. du is this CVDT. You can see here. And now this dW is there. dW is what, Ray? dW is work done. Work done is what? Force into displacement. As this piston is moving with dx, just substitute F into dx, and you know P is equal to F by A. So therefore F is equal to P into A. Substitute here. So this is PA dx, and this area into dx is volume, and that's why it is PdV. Okay. So CPdT is equal to CVdT plus PdV. Okay. Just go through it. See once what I did. Okay. Right. And now next one. We know PV is equal to RT. PV is equal to RT, we know. So PdV is equal to what? RDT. PV is equal to RT. So therefore PdV is equal to RDT. Substitute here at this place, and then just this transfer here, Cp minus Cv dt, and this dt will get cancelled. You will get Cp minus Cv is equal to R. Very, very simple. Okay, right? So this is what your doubts, and please call me if you have any doubt. Okay, so let's stop here, and all the best. Okay, bye.